Her mom called me crying this morning, asking why her daughter was being evicted from the apartment I secretly owned. I told her the truth. After 6 years together, her daughter said she wasn't sure about marrying me. Then joked in front of her friends that if I were richer, she'd marry me. So I showed her exactly how rich I actually was by ending her lease. But here's what she didn't know about the apartment she's being evicted from. I own it. The whole building, 8 units. Bought it 3 years ago. She's been paying rent to me this entire time without knowing it. And that's just the beginning of what I've been hiding. This started 6 years ago when I met Amanda in college. She was studying to be a teacher, seemed down to earth, valued experiences over things. We connected on real levels. I thought she was different, but I had a secret. My grandfather built a manufacturing empire, sold it for 9 figures in the 90s, set up trust funds for his grandchildren. When I turned 25, I got access to mine, millions, enough to buy anything, go anywhere, never work a day in my life. But I kept my job as a project manager, making $70,000 a year and never told anyone. Why? Because my older brother got married at 26. His wife found out about his trust fund after the wedding. Everything changed overnight. She went from loving to demanding. Wanted a bigger house, luxury cars, designer everything. They divorced 2 years later. She got a settlement, he got a lesson. I decided right then I'd hide my wealth from everyone. Live modestly, work a regular job, and test anyone I got serious with. Make sure they loved me for me, not for what I could provide. I'd been dating Amanda for 3 years by this point. She'd passed the first phase. Never asked about money, never seemed greedy, seemed genuinely into me. But I needed a bigger test. When her lease was ending, I saw my opportunity. There was a small apartment building for sale near downtown. 8 units. Good bones but needing updates. The price was reasonable. I bought it, paid cash through an LLC called Glenrock Holdings, hired a property management company to keep me anonymous. I told Amanda I knew someone with a unit available below market rate. We could move in together. She was thrilled. We signed a lease as co-tenants, both our names on it. Each paid $1,500 a month. She thought we were just regular renters. She had no idea I owned the building, that her rent money was going into my business account. For 3 years it worked perfectly. We lived together like a normal couple. Split bills, split groceries. She never suspected anything. Then last year I proposed. She said yes. We set a wedding date for this coming June. But 6 months ago things started changing. She began making comments about money, about our future, about how we'd struggle, how we'd never afford a house or nice vacations, or the comfortable life her friends had. I'd reassure her we'd be fine. She'd agree in the moment, then make another comment later. About someone's engagement ring, someone's honeymoon, someone's new car. Always comparing, always noticing what others had that we didn't. 3 months ago she said she wanted to postpone the wedding. Needed to think about things. About our future, about whether we were ready. 2 months ago she made it official. Push the date back, maybe wait another year. She wasn't sure she was ready to marry me because she had concerns about our financial future. I knew what was happening. She was evaluating me based on money and finding me insufficient. After 6 years together, after saying yes to marriage, she was having doubts because she thought I didn't make enough. The part that killed me? I could give her everything she wanted and more. But she didn't know that, and that was the entire point of the test. She was failing. Last weekend was her birthday. She wanted friends over at our apartment. I bought normal supplies, cake, drinks, decorations. 5 friends showed up. Sarah, Jessica, Megan, Rachel, and Nicole. They were drinking, laughing, having fun. The party was going well, and I was being the good host, making sure everyone had what they needed. Around 9, my boss called with a quick work question. I told Amanda I'd be right back and went to the bedroom to take it. The call took maybe 10 minutes. When I finished, I stood up and was about to head back out when I heard my name from the living room. I paused. Something about the tone made me stop in the hallway. Then I heard laughter. I should have walked back in. Instead, I stayed there, just outside the doorway, and listened. Amanda was talking about the wedding. One of her friends asked when it was happening. Amanda laughed and said they'd postponed it, that she needed to think about whether she really wanted to marry someone who's going to struggle financially forever. I stood frozen in that hallway. Sarah asked what she meant. Amanda said, I'm a great guy, but I make $70,000 a year. That's not enough to build a real life on, not in this city. Megan said, that's not bad money. Amanda countered that it's fine money, not good money. There's a difference. Rachel asked if money was really that important. Amanda went quiet for a second before answering. Honestly, yes, if he made more, I'd marry him tomorrow. If he were a doctor or a lawyer. But he's just a regular guy with a regular job, and I don't know if that's enough for me. Her friends made sympathetic noises. Jessica said she needs to figure out what she wants. Amanda said she knows what she wants. Security, not worrying about money, being able to afford nice things without stress. And I can't give her that. Nicole said maybe she should wait then. Amanda agreed. She's waiting to see if maybe I get a better job or something. But if I don't, she trailed off before finishing. If he were richer, I'd marry him in a heartbeat. But he's not, so here we are. They all laughed. Rachel asked if she'd told me this. Amanda said, God no, I'd be devastated. I think we're postponing because she needs time. Which she does. Time to figure out if she can settle for this. Settle. That's the word she used. I stood in that hallway feeling something inside me go completely cold. 6 years of hiding who I was to find someone who'd love me anyway, and I'd found someone who didn't. Someone who thought I wasn't enough, who was waiting for me to magically make more money. Someone who'd marry me if I were richer, but was considering leaving because I wasn't. I took a breath, put on a smile, and walked back into the living room. Asked who needs drinks, got refills, played the perfect host, laughed at jokes. Inside, I was done. Completely finished. The party ended around 11. Amanda went to bed drunk and happy. I stayed up making decisions. I pulled out my phone and called my brother, told him everything I'd heard. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he asked what I was going to do. I'm going to end it. All of it. The relationship and the lease. You're evicting her? Yes, that's cold. She said she'd marry me if I were richer. That she's settling. That I'm not enough. He changed his tune immediately. Okay, yeah, do what you need to do. Sunday I called my property management company, told them I wanted to terminate the lease for Unit 4. I'm the owner and I'm moving out. I want the other tenant removed. They hesitated but confirmed that if I'm reclaiming the unit, it's within my rights. They'd send a 30-day notice to Amanda. Monday was normal. We both worked, had dinner, watched TV. She noticed nothing. Tuesday morning she left for work early. I was home when the courier arrived around 10 with the official eviction notice. Addressed to Amanda Chen. I signed for it as the co-tenant, opened it, read it. Formal 30-day notice. Owner reclaiming property. All legal. Perfect. I put it on the kitchen counter and went back to work. Amanda came home around 4. I heard her in the kitchen, then heard her exclaim in shock. I came out. She was holding the notice, pale as death. She asked if I'd seen it, just now. What is it? She's being evicted. They're terminating her lease. 30 days to move out. I asked why. It just says owner wants the property back. She looked panicked. This is insane. She's been a perfect tenant. Why would they do this? She grabbed her phone and called the property management company. I listened to her ask why, what she did wrong, whether she can appeal. They must have been polite but firm. It's the owner's decision, nothing personal, just reclaiming the property. She kept pushing and got nowhere. Finally hung up with tears in her eyes. They won't tell her anything, just that the owner wants the unit and she has to leave. She asked what she's supposed to do, where she's supposed to go. Then she looked at me carefully. What about you? Did you get a notice? No. Why not? You're on the lease too? I pulled out my phone and pretended to check. Nothing. She said that's weird. Why just her? She spent the evening calling friends about available apartments. Everything was expensive, way more than she could afford alone. She was stressed, crying, panicking. I acted concerned. She said unless I can convince the owner to let her stay, there's nothing anyone can do. I promised to try. She hugged me and said at least she has me. I felt nothing. Wednesday morning, I told her we needed to talk. She looked terrified. I need to be honest about something. I'm not getting an eviction notice because I'm the owner. I'm Glenrock Holdings. I own this building. I've owned it for 3 years. She stared at me in complete shock. You're my landlord, yes. Why didn't you tell me? Because I wanted to see who you really were without knowing about my money. What money? I explained about my trust fund, about getting access at 25, about being wealthy, very wealthy. I make $70,000 because I like working but I don't need to. I have more money than we'd spend in 3 lifetimes. She sat down heavily, looking like she might pass out. You're rich? How rich? Rich enough to buy apartment buildings. Rich enough that I've been sitting on millions while watching you stress about our budget for 3 years. Rich enough to give you everything you said you wanted. She's staring at me and I can see her brain working, calculating. How much? How long? What it all means. Then it hits her. The apartment, the rent, the 3 years. All of it was a test, and she just realized she failed. Then she asked why I'm telling her now. Because I heard what you said at your party. She went white. I was in the hallway. Heard you tell your friends you'd marry me if I were richer, that you're settling for me, that I'm not enough because I only make $70,000, that you're waiting to see if I get a better job. She started crying, said she was drunk and didn't mean it. Drunk words are sober thoughts. You meant every word, you were being honest for once, and you showed me exactly what matters to you. Money, not me. She grabbed my hands desperately. That's not true. I love you. If you loved me, you wouldn't care about the money. But you do. A lot. You postponed our wedding because of it. She admitted she was scared of struggling, of not having enough. We have plenty. We've always had plenty. You just didn't know it. Then she turned it on me. So you've been lying to me for 6 years? Yes, because my brother's ex-wife married him for money. I learned from that. Decided to hide my wealth and see who'd love me without it. You failed that test completely. She stood up angry. You tested me? Like an experiment? Yes, and you showed me you're exactly the kind of person I was trying to avoid. Someone who'd marry me if I were richer, but isn't sure when I'm not. She was crying hard. So you're evicting me, breaking up with me, just like that? Yes, because I made one drunk comment? Because you showed me your true priorities. This is cruel. You know what's cruel? Telling your friends you're settling for someone. She asked where she's supposed to go. That's not my concern. The lease is terminated. You have 30 days. She said she can't afford anything alone. Then move out of the city. Her job is here. Figure it out. You're really doing this? I am. Now you know I'm more than enough. But it's too late. I packed my things while she begged me to reconsider. I loaded my car and left. She stood there crying. I drove to my brother's house and blocked her number. Next morning her mom called crying. Said Amanda called her hysterical, barely making sense. Something about being evicted, about me breaking up with her, about not knowing what to do. Her mom's voice was shaking. She said she doesn't understand what happened. Amanda's always been a good tenant. We were happy. We were getting married. What changed? What did her daughter do wrong? I took a breath. Let me tell you what actually happened. I gave her the short version. Amanda said she'd marry me if I were richer. I heard it. Turns out I am rich. I own the building. I'm ending everything. She's got 30 days. Her mom went quiet before asking if it's true Amanda said that. Yes, word for word. She sighed and said she didn't raise her to be like that. Then Amanda is desperate, asking for help, asking for money. That's between you and her. Can you help her? Please? No. She made her choice. This seems extreme. So is telling your friends you'd marry someone if they had more money. She went quiet, said she understands, and hung up. Week 2, her friend Sarah called. Amanda is falling apart, can't find anywhere affordable. She's gonna have to move back home and lose her teaching job. That's all you have to say? What do you want me to say? You could help her. You're rich. Why would I do that? Because you loved her. Past tense. She made it clear I wasn't enough. Now she knows I'm enough and more. Too late. You're being cruel. She told her friends she was settling for me. You were there, Sarah. You laughed. She went quiet. Yeah, I heard everything. All of you laughing about how I wasn't good enough. You were drunk, you were honest. Now she deals with the consequences. Day 30 came. Amanda moved out. I heard she went back to her parents' house 2 hours away, had to quit her job, was looking for work near her hometown. I felt nothing. 3 weeks later, her dad called. His voice was calm, measured. Said he'd heard what happened from Amanda and from his wife. But he wanted to hear my version directly before making any judgments. That impressed me. So I told him everything. About my grandfather's business, about the trust fund I got at 25, about my brother's divorce and what it taught me. About deciding to hide my wealth and test anyone I got serious with. I told him about buying the building 3 years ago, about Amanda never knowing, about her comments on money getting worse, about postponing the wedding, about what she said at her birthday party when she thought I couldn't hear. He listened to all of it without interrupting. When I finished, he was quiet for a long time. Then he spoke. You own the building? Yes. She never knew? Correct. Why hide it? I explained about my brother, about wanting someone genuine. And she failed? Spectacularly. He sighed. I understand. I don't blame you. I'm disappointed in my daughter. I thought she was better than that. Is there any chance? None. She's devastated. Says she loves you. She loves what I turned out to be, not what I was. There's a difference. He was quiet. I can't argue with that. I'm sorry it ended this way. Me too. He hung up. 6 months later, I was doing well. Bought a house in a better neighborhood, settled in, started rebuilding my life. No drama, no stress, just peace. My brother asked if I was going to start dating again. I said eventually. No rush. I'd spent 6 years in the wrong relationship. Taking time to figure out what I actually wanted seemed smart. But a couple months later, I met someone at a work conference. Physical therapist, smart, funny, had her own career and money. We took it slow. A few months in, we were having dinner at her apartment. She was making pasta, talking about her work. Mentioned one of her patients, an older woman with great insurance. Then she laughed and said, unlike her insurance, which barely covers anything, between that and student loans, she's going to be paying off debt until she's 40. I asked how much. About $80,000 from physical therapy school. Worth it though. She loves what she does. She asked if I had student loans. No, scholarships and family help. Lucky, she said, and went back to stirring the sauce. Didn't ask what kind of family help, didn't calculate what that might mean, just moved on. That moment told me something important. She wasn't fishing for information about money, she was just having a normal conversation. It felt completely different from Amanda. A year after everything, I heard Amanda got engaged. I felt nothing. My girlfriend asked how I felt about it. Nothing. Happy for her. She found someone. Good for her. You're very calm about your ex getting married. It's been over a long time. I moved on. She moved on. That's how it works. 2 years later, I proposed to my girlfriend. No games, no tests this time, just an honest proposal because I loved her and she was my partner. She said yes. My brother asked at the engagement party if I ever regretted how I handled Amanda. If I'd do anything differently. I thought about it. No, I wouldn't change anything. Even the harsh ending? Especially the harsh ending. Because it was clean, clear, final. Just consequences. You're cold, I'm honest. There's a difference. Hiding wealth. Testing people. Some call it manipulation. I call it protection. Because I found out people's true values, made informed decisions, and ended up with someone who loved me for the right reasons. Amanda wanted security and money. She was honest about that when she thought I couldn't hear. I was honest back by ending things and showing her consequences. My fiancée wanted partnership and love. She showed me that from the beginning without knowing she was being tested, just by being herself. That's what made her different. Because at the end of the day, I found someone who loved me for me. Not for my money, not for my potential, not for what I could provide. Just for me. And that's worth more than any trust fund. Worth the 6 years with Amanda, worth the test, worth the harsh ending, worth all of it. Because when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Amanda showed me she'd marry me if I were richer. So I showed her I was richer, and told her it was too late. She wanted someone with money. She got someone with money who didn't want her. That's not cold, that's consequence.